Hello, this e-content learning is the initiative of Directorate of Higher Education. I am Dr. Jagmohan Singh, Associate Professor of Economics, DPMs Shri Mallikarjun and Shri Chetan Manju Desai College, Kanakuna, Goa. Topic of my discussion is from the unit number 2, Financial System and its Components. Module name, Flow of Funds Matrix. Outline in this discussion: understanding flow of funds, then understanding flow of funds matrix, importance and the limitations of the flow of funds matrix, and the reactions of the sources and uses of flow of funds. Learning outcomes. What you'll be able to learn from this discussion? It describes flow of funds matrix. It analyzes the flow of funds matrix. It describes the importance, the limitations of the flow of funds matrix. It analyzes the reactions of the sources and uses of flow of funds matrix. Flow of funds. The flow of funds accounts list the sources of all funds received and uses to which they are put within the economy. They show the financial transactions among different sectors of the economy and the link between saving and investment aggregates with lending and borrowing by them. Now, this flow of funds, it shows the relationship of spending of the different sectors in the economy. When we broadly try to understand, there are three sectors in the economy: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary sector related with the agricultural activities and all nature oriented activities. Secondary sector is a manufacturing and industry. Tertiary sector, all the services. So how the funds they flow from one sector to another sector, how the income comes from one sector, how the investment goes to the another sector. So all this total relationship, all this total interaction, the flow of funds, that is what it is being studied in the flow of funds. Flow of funds matrix. The flow of funds accounting system is presented in form of a matrix or table by placing sources and uses of the funds statement of the different sectors side by side. It is an interlocking self-containment system that reveals financial relationship among all the sectors of the economy. It means in the flow of funds matrix, where with the help of a table, rows and columns, where how funds are flowing from one sector to another sector, it's a sort of something, the balance sheet of the economy. Ultimately, in the balance sheet, income is equal to expenditure. So here the income should be equal to expenditure. What are the sources of funds? Sources of funds means savings, from where the savings they come, and uses of funds, that's investment. One sector will be saving more, other sector will be spending more. So this the relationship between one sector and the another sector, as for the use of funds and the creation of funds is concerned, that's what it is being listed in the flow of funds matrix. For the economy as a whole, total liability must be equal to the financial assets. Although there is every possibility that in one sector liabilities may not be equal to the financial assets. The consolidated net worth of the economy is consequently identical to the value of its real assets. This implies that the saving must be equal to investment. Total saving in the economy must be equal to investment. S is equal to I. So in flow of funds matrix, ultimately the total savings will be equal to the total investment, which can be understood with the help of this table. In this table, we have the rows and the columns. When we look at the row number 1, there the gross savings in the economy are equal to the gross investments. Gross savings are equal to gross investment, that is total rupees 40 crores, total rupees 40 crores. There's a flow of funds matrix, as I told you. It's sort of something like the balance sheet of the economy as for the income and expenditure, or the savings and investment, or the sources and the uses are concerned. When you look at this the row number 3, net financial investment. That net financial investment that is being achieved 4 minus 5. 4 is financial uses and 5 is financial sources. So 4 minus 5 is equal to 3. Here in column number 5, we have the uses 25 and the saving in column number 5 we have a 10. So column number 3, we have the uses 15 available. Again, when we look at the non-financial corporations here, what we have got it in column number 3, that's a minus 11. And here in column number 3, we have the uses 3, and here in row number 5, we have the savings 14. So for here the 3 minus 14 is equal to minus 11. So and accordingly this calculation, and when we look at the net financial investments in the economy, ultimately 0. Then accordingly, financial uses in the economy, financial sources 34, 34, and here the demand deposits, government securities, corporate securities, mortgage, then the foreign assets. These are the examples of the different sectors taken up. So the interdependence of the different sectors in the economy. Where the one sector, it borrows from others and invests it. So ultimately, the supply is equal to investment. That's a flow of funds matrix in the economy. Importance of flow of funds matrix. Comprehensive and systematic analysis of the financial transactions in the economy. It comprehensively and systematically it analyzes the total financial transactions in the economy from one sector to another sector. Then it provides the useful framework for studying the behavior of the different individual financial institutes, how the different financial institutes are behaving in the economy, where there is a saving, income, more expenditure in these financial institutes. Then it brings the various financial activities of an economy into explicit statistical relationships. It's being presented in the statistical form, in the table forms. So we are able to understand it statistically, the performance of each and every sector in the economy. It traces the financial flows and the interact with the influence of the real savings and investment, how the real savings and investments from the different sectors are being used and how they are behaving. It's a useful comprehensive analysis also of the capital market, how the capital market in the country is behaving. It shows how the government finances its deficit and the surplus budget in the market. When the deficit budget is there, what government does it, how it completes the gap between the income and expenditure. Then it shows the result of transactions in the government and the corporate securities in the economy, net increases in the deposits, foreign assets in the economy. Then it helps in analyzing the impacts of monetary policy and the fiscal policy in the economy, how these policies, what changes are being needed to be incorporated in these policies. Limitations of the flow of funds matrix. Difficulty of correct valuation of the assets. It becomes difficult to value the assets correctly in statistical forms, their value exactly in the statistical forms. The problem of inclusion of non-producible real assets, real assets, how they are to be incorporated. Then there is also the non-inclusion of human wealth in the flow of funds matrix. The human wealth, which is the most important source in the country, its value is not being included in the flow of funds matrix. Reactions of the sources and funds. Sources means savings in the flow of funds. So how these sources, the behavior, when we have to understand the reactions of the sources, means how the savings they behavior in the flow of funds. Saving means the increasement in funds, which are funds available for investment. An increase in any liability, that will be the source of the funds. Or decrease in any asset is also a source of funds. When the asset decreases, means it's sold out, then that's a source of funds. Increase in capital, directly working capital increase in, that's a source of funds. Increase in term liability, is also a source of funds. Decrease in fixed and non-current assets, when fixed and non-current assets increase, that's also a source of fund. Increase in short-term bank accounts, that's also source of funds. A reaction of the uses. Uses means investment. When investment takes place, then what happens to the funds? That there will be a reduction in the funds. That's what all these will show, the reduction in the funds. Decrease in a liability. Liability of the government will be decreasing. Increase in any asset is a use of funds. When the asset increases, that's also the uses of funds. Decrease in capital. When the capital decreases, that's also a use of funds. Decrease in term liability, that's also a uses of funds. The increase in fixed and non-current assets in the economy is the uses of funds. Decrease in short term, the bank borrowing is a use of funds. And the references in this modules from which are being referred to prepare are Khan MY 2017, Indian Financial System, New Delhi, Tata McGraw Hill Publishing Company Limited. 2. Pathak Bharati 2016, Indian Financial System, Pearson's Education. Then two websites are being referred, www.articleslibrary.com, macroeconomic national income macroeconomics flow of funds. Two, www.investopedia.com, terms for ASP. Thank you very much.